We don't usually think of the kaiju in the monsterverse as beings other than giants that fight each other and destroy things. To be fair, you can't really blame most for thinking that because they are mostly trying to kill each other in every trilogy. You heard me. Somehow I think I found a way to incorporate these monsters into the 7 heavenly virtues. Now again, these are my personal interpretations on who I think would fit each virtue the best. So don't come for me if you disagree. I got a family to feed. No I don't. But regardless, have mercy. With that out of the way, let's get into it. The first virtue on the list is one that most of you are going to have trouble dealing with, including myself. This virtue, of course, is patience, which is the opposite of wrath. It's basically the ability to stay calm or tolerant towards situations or people around you. I know damn well almost all of you have had a situation where someone just tests your nerve and you snap at them. The kaiju for this virtue might surprise you, especially since he was actually listed as a deadly sin in another video of mine. I am of course talking about Godzilla. You probably think I'm on galaxy gas or something, especially knowing the things Godzilla has done, but hear me out. Yes, Godzilla is one of the most prideful kaiju out there. The dude started beefs with other kaiju such as Kong just because he didn't want to bow down to him, and turned Tiamat into sushi because she didn't want to give up her home. With that being said, he has given chances. In Kong's case, Godzilla could have killed him during the first interaction in the city, even after Kong sent an axe made of the scales of Goji's species into his leg and rocked his shit when he threw hands. Despite this, Godzilla let him live. He roared in Kong's face and went on his way. One monster I'm surprised he didn't kill was Rodan, because Rodan had a scuffle with Mothra and almost killed her. When Godzilla killed Ghidorah, Rodan, even after trying to kill the Big G's girl, tried to stand on business with him. Instead of giving Rodan that Muto special, he did an exhale and made Rodan bow down to him like the other titans, which was enough for him, I guess. Me personally, if I found out you almost killed my closest friend or spouse, I'ma make you an example in front of all of them. Then there's the case with Tiamat. I mean, he does end up killing her, but there's a whole story to that. His first interaction with Tiamat took place in his old home that he himself got kicked out a while back by one of Kong's species called the Rival. So when Godzilla was stronger, he came back to try and settle the score with the Rival, but he died either by Tiamat or natural causes. The moment he went back into his home, Tiamat jumped him and almost killed Godzilla, but he gained the terrain advantage and won. Instead of killing her for claiming his home and then trying to end him the moment he entered his own lair, he placed his feet on her head and said to basically submit or die. She submitted and he let her go on her way. I'm sure a lot of you would probably crash out. Imagine coming back trying to resettle a match with someone, but some other thing decides to kill you for trying to take back your own home. Even in the latest movie, he shows some amount of patience toward her. Yes, he was out of pocket for trying to kick her out of her own home, but at least he gave a warning. He blasted the ice with his atomic breath to drive her out instead of going right in and mutilating her. Were his methods poorly executed? Yes. But he's a kaiju, there's only so much he can do in terms of communication. Anyway, she retaliates and gets blasted for it, but I guess it worked out for the best, since I'm sure she was trying to power up to kill him in the end. Anyway, the dude let the guy who tried to kill his closest ally live, spared Kong even after how stubborn he was being, and tried his best to warn Tiamat multiple times until it got too much, and he had to put her down. Goji also is a good guy in some instances, like the time he saved Behemoth from another destroyer titan. While yes, he does kill a lot of titans, he usually gives warnings before he delivers the final blow, unless they are a direct threat and he knows will damage the earth and him, like the Mutos. And hey, his patience toward Kong ended up saving him from the robot version of himself. I think we all can unanimously agree kindness fits no one else but Kong. The dude has shown compassion to those that don't even deserve it. Kong is the guardian of Skull Island and his entire family was killed by skull crawlers. It takes a different type of ability to remain compassionate to so many others, even as the moment he was born, he was hidden away and witnessed his father and mother torn apart right in front of him. Yes, he does show a different type of malice towards the skullcrawlers, but that's kinda granted considering how hyper-aggressive they are. He helps any creature in need, from the island's denizens such as a scare buffalo, and this appears to be a regular thing because the guy just looked up, walked away, and went on his way. Believe it or not, he even showed some level of compassion, or more so pity, for Godzilla, as the native girl he can communicate with convinced him to help Goji, even though Godzilla basically rocked him and left him for dead. Kong still decided to give a lending hand to the G-Man in defeating Mechagodzilla, which ultimately saved both of their lives. He has a particular relationship to the humans, Not these ones obviously, but more so the locals of the island and a few scientists he trusts. Remember that one scene where Kong tried to save the ape who just tried to kill him by grabbing his arm and preventing him from falling off a cliff? He helped the dude up, but inevitably kicked him back off when he tried to kill him again. When he forced Zuko to take him to the lair with the other apes, he developed a bond with Zuko, who has probably known nothing but hardship and struggle considering his dad is the Scar King. Zuko tried to kill Kong with a massive water serpent, but Kong killed it, rolled his eyes, and then offered him food right after. The dude was willing to take on the soldier apes in order to save one of his own species that wasn't strong enough to lift up a rock. And let's not forget the way he basically granted poor Shimo some relief after who knows how many decades or even possibly centuries of enslavement. Even though she was the one that basically made his right arm permanently numb. He recognized what she went through and forgave her. He's a perfect example of befriending your enemies. The next one is of course chastity. A very weird virtue for a Titan to represent. But again, these are animals, so they won't represent the virtue to the degree that you would think it. I think most of you know what chastity is. It's meant to be the opposite of the deadly sin lust, which is abstaining from sexual or unreasonable desires. And what better kaiju to represent the sin than the kaiju that is always reborn asexually, Mothra. There are kaiju such as the Scar King, who has many children and forces female apes to bear his children. And even the Mutos represent lust to a certain degree. But to be honest, they're just trying to save their species. Mothra is a symbol of rebirth in the Monsterverse universe, and is the only Titan I think that doesn't have to use conventional methods in order to procreate, since every time she dies she is reborn as an egg, where she then goes into her larval form to then metamorphosize into an adult moth, again that has a stinger of a wasp, somehow. She is a symbol of purity to many, including the ancient people such as the Iwi, who recognize her as a symbol of purity and divine protector. While yes, Kong is viewed as a protector, he's mostly just seen as that, while Mothra is seen as more than a guardian. Mothra is also an ally to other Titans, the most famous of our alliances being with Godzilla, which is probably the closest bond we've seen other Titans have with each other, besides the Muto pair and Kong with Zuko. Yes, Mothra has helped Kong in the newest Monsterverse movie and other Titans in older movies that are outside the Monsterverse, but she goes so far as to give her life for him. She almost dies trying to fight Rodan to help Godzilla, and takes a full lightning strike from Ghidorah, who is much larger than her, in order to shield Godzilla when he's down. She knew she was gonna die, and her last act was to give Godzilla her remaining essence, which powered him up and gave him his flaming form. Some people say that he can just do it again when he's really pissed, but you can literally see Mothra's wing pattern when he does his pulse. That disintegrates Ghidorah's wings. There wasn't any other act or instance that has gotten Godzilla more angry than his closest ally being killed, especially since he was the last of his species. In the newest movie, when Mothra knocks him down to save Kong, he doesn't act with anger like he would with any other kaiju that pulled that stunt. He just looked up in awe that he was reunited with basically his queen in a sense, and immediately switched up and worked with Kong. This just goes to show that their relationship is one of mutual respect, and I would go so far as to say love, since I don't know if you're going to give your life for somebody you don't like. Granted, she probably knew that she was going to be reborn, but I'm sure it wasn't a painless death. Mothra shows that one can't truly love another without giving in to the desires or need for any other worldly acts. Well, you guys know the drill. I'm going to do a part 2 covering the other 4. However, unlike my usual ones, this might take a while, since it's kinda hard to find kaiju to represent these virtues. Leave in the comments who you guys think would fit the virtues I've listed above even better. Or if you even agree with my list, and who you predict will be in the other 4. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.